use it. Because hopefully, for a lot of you, this is going to help you in your business, online, with whatever you're going to do. Is that good? Make sense? Cool. Carry on talking. We're not starting yet. I just want to make sure you're ready. If you need pens, there's pens up here. Does anyone need a pen? Yeah? If you need pens, there's paper. Easier to record, though. Also, is everyone on Facebook? Can you put your hands up if you're on Facebook? Wow, most of you. Who's not on Facebook these days? I'm live streaming it, by the way, so there's a camera. So if you like turn around and just wave in that back corner, there's like some crazy English people that are probably watching this. If you're on Facebook, you can find me. It's Steve Woody. If you just type that in, you'll see a picture of me going. You can comment on the live stream. Just don't be rude, please. We'll start in a minute, though. Keep talking, guys. It's all right.
Hi, everyone. 2-minute introduction. You already heard Steve, so you should record this, although we have live streaming. So basically, if you haven't read his bio on INAT Summit website, Steve is one amazing guy with really interesting life story. He was serving the army for 6 years in several countries. After that, he started his entrepreneurial story, went homeless for 2 or 3 times, started again one business, went broke, and started again, and gained some nasty addiction problem, like not drugs, of course, like gambling addiction. And eventually he started doing web design, like working on freelancer platforms, doing web design for other people. And then he realized he couldn't compete with low and cheap workforce from Pakistan and Philippines. So he decided he should make a strategy, like a sound website strategy. So today he's running Online Mastery Limited, web consulting company, and he's helping businesses raise their visibility on internet. So you will see amazing stories from these guys. So we should begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to come down here because I don't like a barrier between us, and I feel a bit, I don't have an ego, I've got nothing to sell, I've got nothing to do here apart from to help you guys. So I can't help you if I don't know who you are. So, just to get started, how many of you are sort of still in school at the moment? Just raise your hands if you're still in school or in high school or in education at the moment. School. Sorry, my English is really bad. So, okay, how many of you have a business or work, like for yourself? Awesome, good. How many of you work for somebody else? I'm sorry. But that's good, right? But you're all here, so this is good. How many of you was here yesterday? You here yesterday? Do you remember what I said at lunch about connecting? How many of you actually connected with other people? Have you met new people? Awesome, great, well done. So I'm here now. What I'm going to do, we've got about 90 minutes. And the only thing that I do in my business these days is I run a 6-week course. And so I'm going to give you that 6 weeks in 90 minutes. And it's going to be tough, but record it, take notes, and then you can listen back to it, okay? We're also, straight after that, we're going into a lunch break. Now, we went out for dinner last night, a few of us. We were talking. A few of us have been talking yesterday. I like doing Q&A because then I get to find out what you need and I can help you. So if you want, you can go for lunch after this or you can stay behind and I'm more than happy to do another hour-and-a-half Q&A with you. Totally up to you. So we can go for 3 hours, I don't mind. But we'll do an hour and a half now. What I'm going to do, if you're on social media at all, what are your favourite platforms? Just shout them out. Instagram. Everyone loves Instagram, right? Snapchat, anyone on Snapchat? Couple of people. Not so much these days, right? You don't need it anymore. Not now Facebook's released its new messenger. LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, okay, interesting. What are you guys on? Instagram, Facebook. So Facebook's probably the popular one, right? Everyone's using Facebook. But what do you use it for? You use it for business. You use it for business. How many of you use it just to connect with friends? How many of you use it just to waste time because you're bored of Netflix? Right, it has lots of different purposes, okay? You can use social media for business, you can use it for personal, wasting time, same with YouTube. How many videos have you started watching a video on YouTube and then you've ended up somewhere else, watching something completely different, and you're like, why am I here? It happens a lot, right? Well, sometimes it's an accident. Sometimes it's actually designed that way. See, marketers are very clever. If you think that on Facebook you're viewing the world, you're mistaken. In terms of the general world, you're actually being given a perceived reality, what Facebook thinks you want to see, based on what you do. Because Facebook knows everything about you. It probably knows things you don't even know about yourself. But the reality is that they use that information for business owners so people like me can target and market you and sell you things. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I take my clients from not having a clue what to do. They've gone onto the internet. I need a website, because that's a common thing, right? I want a website. And they'll go, I'll get a website. They'll go to Wix or Squarespace or Weebly or any of these sites where they'll go and get a quick website built. And then they'll put all of their content on there. And then they'll be like, right, now everyone's going to come and give me money. It just never happens. Right? And so what I do is I come in and say, well, it's because this, and this. And that's what we're going to cover today. Does that sound good? Yeah? I'm going to need to interact with you because I don't want you to fall asleep. Okay? So what I do is 6 things. And the first thing I'm going to do, we'll talk about number 1. This is the most important thing that you can do in your business, online, if you're going to do anything to make money, is you need to know your numbers. I hope you can read that. I'm sorry, my spelling's terrible. You need to know your numbers in your business. So, as was nicely mentioned when I started, I have had a lot of businesses that have been successful and then failed or never actually got off the ground because I didn't know the numbers. I didn't know what I was doing. At the end of the day, who wants to make money? Why isn't everyone's hand not up? Are there people that don't want to make money? I get it, it's fine, because it shouldn't be your driving force. Making money is good because we need it, right? There's this real thing about money. It's sales, money, I don't know if I want to do that. But at the end of the day, we need it, right? You want to buy nice clothes, you want to go out with your friends, you want to go and travel, you need money. The world that we live in. And especially here at the moment, in your economy at the moment, in Serbia, it's crazy, right? You have a prime minister who's your president. Everything's all around the place. The government can't even provide good Wi-Fi for you. Well, not in here anyway. I don't know. Has anyone else had trouble connecting at the moment? Yeah. You got do you know the password? Do you want it? It's easy. If you haven't got a Wi-Fi password, speak to you got it back. I'm sure he'll help you out. So my point is that whose responsibility is it for you to make money? Exactly right. It's your own. You can. If you're employed, that's great. I honor you if you've got a job, and that's great, and that's what you want to do, fantastic. Because there are some amazing people doing amazing things in employment. But let me just ask you a quick question. What happens if you get sick? You may have medical cover, right? Or you may get some money for it, but what happens if you're sick long term? That's it, right? You're replaceable. You're a number. And it's sad to say, but if any of you heard Lydia when she was talking upstairs, and the conversation that was going on was really about loyalty between the employer and the employers. And the problem that I find, and this is the real challenge I have, is a lot of people, especially in the UK, I don't know what it's like here, but in the UK it's kind of like older generations were kind of told that you should buy a property and you should work for 45 years and then you should retire and enjoy your life. And I'm I don't want to wait 45. I want to enjoy my life now. I don't want to wait for that. So what can I do differently? And so just to give you a bit of perspective, I'm not going to bore you with my personal story. I'm not going to go into any of that. I'm talking at the Yes Group in Serbia. If any of you want to speak to Lydia at the back, she can connect you with that on Monday. So I'll talk all about my personal story there, how I overcome being homeless, going bankrupt, all of those problems. But what I realized through all of my journey is that it's up to me. And there will never be a better time than right now to make money online. There won't. It will not get as good as it is right now because not everybody knows about it. It sounds stupid, right? Everyone knows about the internet. But we had a conversation, didn't we, yesterday? And you was I don't know how to make money online. And so I said, well, what do you know? What's your favorite app? And you said to me, Instagram, right? So is it fair to say that there are the older generation at the moment that don't know how to use Instagram? Would you agree? Right? Is that fair to say that older generations that have got a business right now and don't know how to use Instagram? Like, are there enough businesses out and around that if you went walking around the street, you could walk into any company and say, I'm going to bring you more customers? Do you think they'd be happy with that? Is it possible for you to go into a business and say, I'm going to generate you some traffic, I'm going to bring you some money, and I want you to give me like 50% of whatever you make, of what I bring you? Like, they can't lose, right? You could do a little Facebook ad, like geo-target an area, and you can say, I'm going to send anyone within a 1 kilometer radius a discount code for your pizza shop. It's easy. They're not doing it because they don't know how. But like you guys, you know technology, right? You know Instagram, you know Snapchat, you know Facebook. So why are you not educating the people that don't know? Because everybody will pay for information. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know everything. All you need to know is more than the person who's got the money. If you know that, you can take the money from them, you can give them information. It's as simple as that. So, with that in mind, I was a web developer. That was what I used to do. And I decided, through an identity crisis, after all my stuff that I went through, that I would build websites. And I would sit and I would write code. And in London, it is really expensive. Like, it's really expensive. We worked it out last night at dinner that if I was to move here, I'd be a millionaire in a month. I was like, I'm up for that, just for the ego side of things, right? But it's crazy. Like, I can't stress enough how expensive it is to live in central London right now. And when I was competing with people in India and the Philippines and countries that have a really low cost of living, they beat me every time. Some of them are obviously a lot cleverer than me. They can code better than me. They can build better websites. And here's the thing with building a website, by the way, you don't need to know code anymore. There's enough systems out there that you can just drag and drop. In fact, there's this whole new generation of website developers who don't know a line of code. And I see it day after day where business owners hire someone and pay them a lot of money because they're calling themselves a developer, but they can't develop. And so when they say, I need you to do something, all of a sudden they can't do it, they get in trouble. And that's where the communication breaks down, that's where things don't get wrong, that's where the pain, that's where the suffering, that's where all the loss of money, loss of time, all of the things that really scare business owners, that's where that starts to happen. So all I do now is I said to myself, I asked one simple question, what can I do differently? So I asked myself, what can I do differently and what do people want? Because I can tell you now, if you've got a business or an idea or a concept, something you want to do, it's great that you've got an idea, but it's not worth shit. Sorry. Not worth anything. It's not worth anything because the reality is you're not going to buy it from yourself. So your products and services, your value or your perceived value is only worth what the marketplace will pay you. And so that means that whatever it is you're going to sell, you need to promote. You need to be really good at selling yourself and selling whatever it is that you believe in. And so if you're selling, I don't know, whatever it is, but if you're selling something like, who's got a job they hate? Who's got a job they don't like? Who has a job they don't enjoy? What do you do? You're changing your job. But what do you do? What was the job you didn't like? So the job that you didn't enjoy, what was it? What did you do?
I'm doing right now this job.
What is it?
Transportational logistics.
Transportational logistics. So you infused, like, can you sell that to people? Can you tell people like, oh, I do? I can see you're like, oh, God, I don't want to do it anymore. You can hear it, right? I love my job. I love it. I do it from a mobile phone. I can sit and work anywhere in the world. I can travel. I earn really good money. I help people. I have people saying I've helped them in their business. People that are on holiday with their families making money because they've told me that I've helped them. That's a great feeling. I love doing that. I love coming to countries, being invited to come and speak, to help you people to take away some knowledge. That's an amazing thing for me to do. But the reality is, the only reason I do this is because I've relentlessly worked so hard on understanding everything. And the one thing I can give you now, the one thing I can tell you is, doesn't matter what you know. Doesn't matter. You can know everything, doesn't matter. Because if you don't apply it, if you don't take action, like learning stuff is good, right? Learning stuff is really important, but then you need to go and apply it. You need to use it. Because if you don't use it, it's worthless. And so everything I've learned just held me back. Because I'm like, oh, I know all this stuff, but what do I do? Where do I go? And so I broke it down, and I was like, what do people really need? So if you've got an online business, and we'll go through this in the Q&A afterwards, but if you've got an online business, the first step, when people come to me and they say, I need a website, because that's a common question, right? People say, I need a website. That word, website, so dangerous, because it's not a website. You need a designer, you need a strategist, you need a developer, you need a marketing agency, you need a therapist to help you with all the stress. There's a lot of things you need to build a website, right? But when people say to me, I need a website, I say, whoa, wait. Before we build you a website, let's just go up a level. Let's look at the business. Because why are you building a website? Like most of the time, people build a website because, oh, I need a website. Why? Why do you need a website? Oh, because everyone else has got one. It's a crap excuse. Like, why do you want a website? Yeah? If you don't need it, like we were saying to you about, you were saying you could create a course where you could teach the older generation how to use Instagram, right? Or we was talking about it earlier, wasn't we? About the similar thing about creating a course. You don't need a website to create a course. You could sell it on Udemy. Or there's enough platforms out there that you can create and you can sell things. So you don't need technology, you don't need a designer, you don't need all of those things. And so what I tend to do is I look at the numbers. We go back to step one, which is the numbers. And so what we want to know, and this is something to write down, this is something to make a note of. How much money, that's a good one, right? How much money do you want to earn each month? Just write it down for yourself. How much money do you want to earn each month? Like in an ideal world, like if you were comfortable, you know, so you could go out, do all the things you want to do. How much money do you want to earn each month? And then next to that, write down a different number. I want you to write down how much is the minimal amount, the smallest amount. Like what do you need to eat and pay the rent and, you know, the bills? Make sense? Write that down. Because I want you to see the difference in what you need and what you want. Does that make sense? You need to know this. You must know this. Because if you're going to have an online business, you have to pay yourself first. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Like, I could spend 24 hours a day working, helping everyone else. But if I don't get paid, why am I doing it? And I can tell you that because for a long time, I didn't get paid. I had a nervous breakdown because I was working so many hours, and I never got paid. I would work for free. In fact, I had paying clients, and I wouldn't do my paid work because I would work on free work because I didn't like money. I used to have a real problem with money. That's why I gambled. And so I'm here to tell you that there is so much money out there. Like we had a conversation. Where's is the gentleman here that was here yesterday, the one that was talking about the charging, the mobile charging? That was you, wasn't it? That was what we was talking about. So can I share that quickly? So put your hand up a sec. What's your name?
Dan.
So Diane, was talking yesterday, and he's got this amazing concept. And he came up to me and he said, could you imagine walking into a building and your mobile phone automatically starts charging? Could you imagine that? Imagine if you walked into a restaurant and as you were sitting down eating your food, wherever you was in that building, your phone would charge. It'd be pretty cool, right? How many people have problems with their battery on their mobile phone right now? So there's a market for it, right? So we know there's a market. Would you go to a restaurant, or would you go to the theatre, or would you go out if you knew that you could charge your phone while you were there? So if there were two restaurants, one of them didn't have it and one did, which one would you go to? Easy, right? So now you can sell it to business owners. It's a great concept. So what he now needs to do is work out the numbers. How much does it cost to create this? How much do you sell it for? Because that's the next thing you need to know. It's all right knowing how much you want to earn, but that's your wages, that's the money, right? You now need to know what are the running costs in your business. So maybe not now, because this is something to do for like homework. I'm sorry I'm giving you homework. That's not what you want today, right? But go home and in your business or in whatever you want to do, work out all of the costs. What is it going to cost you to run your business? So if you have a website, you need a domain name, www. You need hosting, you need a website. Do you need a prototype? Do you need, are there other running costs? You know, is there like logistics? Do you need to send stuff in the post? Like, what are the costs of your business? And put everything down. Because what you're going to have at the end of this is you're going to have a few different numbers, okay? You're going to have how much you want in your wages. I'm sorry if you can't see this. You're going to have your running costs. And you're going to have additional costs. So additional costs is you should always have a buffer, all right? Because, let's be honest, things go wrong. And you don't want to be in a position where you're always struggling to do things, like if a bill comes up. Like, how many of you had a letter before where you had to pay something that you didn't know about? Have you ever had that? And you're like, you have to go and find the money for it, you wasn't expecting it? Same happens in business, right? It's no difference. You need to be able to, it's really hard to read that. You need to be able to have that buffer. So whatever you're going to take in wages, I would always recommend you split it evenly. So whatever your running costs are in your business, whatever your wages are, and your buffer, and you should also look to develop. Like you want to research and you want to invest in your business to take it to the next level. Right? So you'd always be putting money back in and reinvesting. Reinvest in yourself, in your education, like coming here, getting tickets to an event like this, whether you're going to buy online courses, whatever you're going to do, always learn, reading books, whatever you're doing. But then once you've learned, you need to implement it, right? So that's what you need to do. You need to know the numbers. Does that make sense? Once you've done that and you've got the numbers, then you need to know what you're going to sell and how much are you going to sell it for. Because business is so simple. Like people overcomplicate it all the time and it's so annoying. All you need to do in business, it is really, really, really simple. All you need to do is find somebody who has a problem. So here is an unhappy person. Sorry, my drawing, I'm not a designer, right? All you need to do, I'm going to go euro because it's the closest thing to your currency that I don't know what the symbol is, I'm sorry. But if you want to get someone to get paid, all you need to do is add value. That's it. This person has a problem, you solve the problem. Bigger the problem, bigger the pay. Make sense? Perfect example. Mobile phones don't charge. If you can take someone who has no battery and charge their phone, they're going to pay you for it. Simple. Why overcomplicate it? So all you need to know is the numbers to make sure that whatever problem you're going to solve, like the value you deliver, it needs to make you money. I can't tell you, right, this is so simple, but how many people I know that have a business and they spend more money than they earn? It's crazy. Like, it costs them more. They don't make money out of it. And so you need to look at what you're doing and how you're doing it. And that brings me on to my second point. So number 2 is all about the customer. And I had this conversation earlier. So if you're employed, this is great because you can do it as well. But if you've got your own business or you want to start your business or you're thinking about a business, I want you just to spend a few minutes right now and I want you to think about your customer avatar. You know, like avatar, like the person that you are going to be helping. All right? Let's forget about the money for a minute. We've talked about the numbers, so money aside, because money is not the focus. Making money is like a byproduct. It's like secondary. Like if I help you, I'll get paid. Does that make sense? Yeah? So focus on the value that you're going to deliver and you'll get paid. I promise. Every single time. So right now, if you've got your pens and papers, write this down. I want you to start thinking about this. Who can you help? Who can you help? Like if you can help someone, who? Who can you help? And what can you do to help them? So that's the first thing you need to know. What are you going to do? How are you going to help them? Who are you going to help? And then what I want you to start thinking is, who is this person? So I want you to actually visualize a person. It could be a friend, a family member. It's just someone made up. It doesn't have to be someone real. But I want you to imagine somebody. So let's get some ideas at the moment. Who has an idea for a business? Who has a product or a service? Brilliant. So what is it that you do? What is it you sell?
I already have a business, but I'm thinking of something new.
New business?
Salt bath.
It's called?
Bath.
Bat. Oh, salt baths. Oh, like Epsom salt and things like that. Okay, excellent. So, okay, great. Let's use that as a great example. So, salt baths, okay? Who needs salt baths? She does. There you go. You've got a customer. So, Anyone else need a salt? That's a different workshop altogether. But who would need a salt bath? Like what type of person?
Yeah, so people that work a lot need some time for relaxation.
So relaxation, yeah. Stressed out people. Great, give me some more ideas.
You can contribute,
Yeah. So who else? Who else would need a salt bath? You need a salt bath. Like people in pain, right? Because it can relieve joints, muscles, aches and things like that. So now, okay, would you think that a salt bath is more like, I don't want to get too stereotypical here, okay? Take anything I use, like apply it, but anything that doesn't resonate, just leave it. All right, I'm not going to get into any politics or religion or any debates or anything like that. But in terms of, if you was to think of like masculine, feminine, like men or women, who's more likely to have a salt bath? Feminine, okay? So is that fair to say? Is it fair to say that women are more likely to have a salt bath? So, all right, so now you're targeting women. So if you're looking at age ranges, so let's say from 0 to 100, whatever, we can narrow it down, but we'll start there. And you were to put that into sort of like brackets of like 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60.
You gotta go for 30 to 45.
30 to 45. So right now we know, because I could turn around to you and say, oh, who are you selling to? Everybody. That's so common. I hear it all the time. Who are you selling to? I'm selling to everybody. If you're selling to everybody, you'll sell to nobody. You need to target. You need to know who you're selling to. So right now, we know that you're selling to females between the age of 30 to 45. So what I would urge you to do now, and think about this for your own ideas, okay? Businesses if you've got them or what you want to create. Right now, he's got a bit of a head start because he understands this. What I would like you to do, and for everyone else to do, is give that person a name. Is it a man or is it a woman? Or is it a child? What age are they roughly? Are they young? Are they like teenager? Are they middle age? Are they old? And then give them a name. Like create a name. Like what would she be called? The lady in the bath. And actually write it down. Because what I want you to do, there's a reason for this process. I'll come to you just one sec. There's a reason for this process. You need to get yourself into the mind of the person you want to help. Does that make sense? You need to know them better than they know themselves. Because when you understand what their problems are, you can solve their problems. And the best problems to solve are the ones they don't even know they have. If they don't know they've got a problem and you say, look, do you know I can fix this for you? It's really simple, you just need to do it. And oh my God, that's amazing. And they go and tell all their friends about it. Now you've got a customer base. You don't even have to do any marketing for that. Does that make sense? Like, is this good? Because I can change this. If it's not good and you don't enjoy it, we can switch it around. But I really want to give you this. Because this is like everything I've learned and it works. Like it works really well. If I can, I might see if I can connect the laptop up later and I'll show you like I'll actually log into my accounts and show you what's happening. I'll show you how just by applying this, like in March, I made over £30,000, which if you convert that into dinar, I mean, does anyone have, I don't even have a clue what that would be. But it's a few million, right? Three and a half, I think it was like, we worked out, it was like 3.5 million. Like that's not bad for a month's work, right? Yeah. He gets it. I'm telling you this because it works. If you apply it, it works. It doesn't have to be complicated. And they'll never teach you. Like one of the really interesting things when we was upstairs and I was listening to Lydia and was talking about the educational system. Why would they teach you this in school? Why? That's not the purpose of school. Many people think that who thinks that the school system's broken? It's not. It's not broken. The school system does exactly what it's supposed to do. It gets you ready to go to work, to have a job, to sit there and say yes and no. That's the purpose of a job, so that you work, so that you keep the cogs turning. It's not broken. It's doing exactly what it's meant to do. You just don't like it. And that's great, because if you don't like it, you can do something about it. That's why you're here. Does that make sense? I need people to serve me my food. I need people to fix my car. I need people in jobs so that I can enjoy the things I want to enjoy in life. I know it sounds horrible, but it's like if people are happy to do that, there's nothing wrong with having a job if it gives you security, if it makes you happy, if you've got self-worth. But if you've got like that desire, like I really want to do something more with my life, like I really don't know what it is, but there's something in, like I only figured this out a few years ago. So it doesn't like, you don't have to do it now. Like if you get it at a young age, amazing. But I can tell you now, like I had to do a lot of different things to figure out. I have a saying, I know I'm going to be successful because I am running out of things to do wrong. I've made so many mistakes that I now know what works. And so now I know my numbers and we know exactly what we need to do. Now you get an idea of your customer avatar and go deep with this. I've got some worksheets and some leaflets I can give you to help you with this. I've got videos online, I've got blogs. It's all free. You can use all of it to help you with all of this, anything you need. But when you understand your customer avatar, and I mean, where do they live? How much money do they earn? What car do they drive? You know, what clothes do they wear? Where do they hang out on a weekend? What social media platforms are they on? What phone do they have? Like when you start to really understand this person, then you can start to understand what their problems are. And then you can start to help them. I'm going to give you a quick analogy just to hopefully help you a little bit. You don't want to fix people's problems straight away. This is more marketing now. But if you imagine, I'm going to use this from the army because it's the only analogy that I know that works really well. Imagine someone's been shot. Not a nice idea, I know, but imagine for a moment someone's been shot. You don't run up to them and go, oh my God, you've been shot, because they'll panic. And you don't want to panic them because they'll bleed quicker. You want to actually, the first thing to do is say, let me just give you some morphine. Let me give you some pain relief. Does that make sense? You want to take away the pain. So that's what internet marketers do. That's what digital marketing is. The first thing you do is we say, hold on, are you in pain? Let me just take away the pain. And that's when they ask for your name and your email address, and that's when you have to go through all of these processes. You know what I'm talking about, we've all done it. So that's the first thing they do, is they take away the pain. But they wouldn't adopt a new platform. They'd rather pay £60 a click, which is what they were doing, and they're like, it's too expensive. I'm like, of course it's expensive. There's better ways to do things, but they weren't open to it, which is fine. Because you're not meant to change everybody. You're not meant to work with everybody. You're meant to work with a few people that want your help. Few people that are interested in your help, that you can help. And here's the thing. If you're thinking at the moment, but I don't have any customers, I don't have any clients, there is nothing wrong with starting for free to get a testimonial. But when you get a testimonial, be very, very careful. Because there are two types of testimonials you can get. There's a testimonial where someone says, Steve's amazing, he's really good. Yeah, that's great. It doesn't really mean anything. What you can also get is a case study. Steve took my business from 1,000 to 100,000 in 6 minutes. I mean, I don't know, whatever. But you get my point. Facts, actual numbers where we did something, where we went from A to B. Because that is also a testimonial, but people can relate more to it. It adds more credibility. It helps you in your business. And so if you're going to work for free to build up, to be established, make sure you're still getting something in return. If even it's a case study. I would always tell my clients to take one project for free, to do it, and to document the whole thing, and to use that, and make sure you can use that, to then attract new business. And that's exactly what I did with my 6-week course. So, can I just tell you a very quick story? Is that okay? So, I was married last year. Okay, I met a lady on Facebook who needed help with her website, and I decided that I would go out to America to surprise her for Valentine's Day. Never met her before, never been to America before, but decided to go out there and surprise her for Valentine's Day. And we got on really well, and after a period of time, we decided we would get married. She would move to the UK. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and she went back to America. And at the beginning of this year, I was £50,000 in debt. All right, that's a lot of money to be in debt. And I can tell you this very confidently right now because I sat there and I looked and I put it all into Excel and I worked everything out, and I said, what would happen if I closed my business? If I went and got a job on minimum wage, like on the smallest amount of money I could earn, how long would it take me to pay off that debt? And I worked out it would take me over 30 years. That was enough pain for me, that was enough leverage to say no. What else do I have? And I looked at everything I had. Now, I have my book, I have online courses, I have all of these different assets that I've already built, but I wasn't selling because I didn't like to sell because I don't want to be one of these douchebag, buy my things. I don't want to be that person. And so I looked at what I could do, and I decided I would do a Facebook Live. And if you follow me on Facebook, if you type into Facebook, Steve Woody, and you follow me, you can go back through my history, you'll see it. I did a Facebook Live, I think it was back in late January, and I was going through my divorce. I was about to move out. I had a beautiful house. I was just about to move out of it because I couldn't afford to live there on my own. I was spending, for me to live was costing me about £6,000 a month, which I don't know what that is, but it's a lot for rent and food and stuff. It's a lot to spend. But I had a nice life. I was happy, right? So then I had to make a decision. What do? I'm moving out of my house. My wife's not, I'm in a very bad place, emotionally and mentally, but I still got my business. So what I did is I did a Facebook Live, 5 minutes. And I said, look, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you exactly where I am. And I don't have to tell you that story. I can tell you how successful I am. I can tell you how great I am. But the reality is I went on Facebook and I was honest and I was open and I said, I'm in the shit. I'm in a bad place. But I'm not going to let that define me. I'm not going to let that choose what happens to me. Instead, what I'm going to do is use everything I've got around me. I'm going to be resourceful. And I'm going to do my book, my online course, this course, that course, plus you're going to get an hour of my time and I'm going to do this and this. And I bundled everything together. Because do you remember when I was talking about that model, about having all of the different products, the Trinity model? When you bundle all of that into one product and it's overwhelming. There's so many options. Pick one thing. Pick one thing, make money from one thing, get that working, and once that works, then do something else. But to start with, for systems, if you need a website, and I'm not going to go into too much detail now because I don't have time, I recommend using WordPress if you want to build a website. The reason I recommend using WordPress is because you own it. It's yours. If you go onto Wix or Weebly or Squarespace, it's their platform, it's their playground, it's their rules. It's your business, it's their rules. You don't own your website, you're renting it. They can shut it down at any moment. And so it's important that you have your own website, that you own your website. And WordPress is open source. And most of you probably know about this. Open source means that you can do whatever you want to it. It's yours. And that's a really, really powerful thing. Also, what it means is that you don't have just one developer who's built a system. There are tens of thousands of people who love writing code, who love writing systems, who have problems, and they've created solutions. So if you're an event company, they have a plugin. So you can plug in some code into WordPress, and you can run an events business, you can run e-commerce, you can run scheduling, you can run anything that you want to run through WordPress, through plugins, and a lot of them are free. Because WordPress itself is free. The only thing you need to do is buy what's called a theme. And I'm sorry if some of you know this, I don't want to teach you to suck eggs, but I really want you to understand the concept behind this. You can buy a theme for about $60. For about $60 you can buy a theme. And the only one that I use, and the only one I recommend is called the X theme. It's by a company called ThemeCo. You know of it? So the guys at ThemeCo, they come to my wedding. I know them very well. They're amazing people, and they've just launched a whole new version. I used to go to a client when I was building a website, and I would say, what do you want? What do you need? And they would be like, oh, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. And what I realized is that people don't have a clue what they want or what they need. And so I would give them exactly what they wanted. They didn't need it. And then they'd be like, oh, but I'm not getting results. That's why I stopped. I let everyone in India and the Philippines do that because they don't charge a lot for it. And then once they've built that and it doesn't work, then they come to me. That's my target audience. Frustrated, overwhelmed people that aren't getting results with their websites. And then I look at it and I say, right, let's look at the business. Is there a business there? Okay, who's your customer avatar? What are your products and services? Right, now let's look at the website. There's a lot more involved than just building a website because I'm not about building websites anymore. I'm about building businesses. About building an online business that you can use to earn money so that you can enjoy and do the things you want to do. That's not to say you're going to go and sit on a beach whilst money comes in. That doesn't exist. You show me one person that's done that, who actually sits on a beach and enjoys it whilst they're making money. Like I can hire a car. I can hire a Ferrari and I can drive around in it and tell you that I'm successful. You know, I can do all of those things, but the reality is, like, my day-to-day life, I work every day. From when I wake up to when I go to sleep, because to me it's not a job, it's a passion. I love it. Why am I here? It was my birthday yesterday. Why was I here on my birthday? Why am I here now talking to you? I'm not selling you anything. I'm not making anything out of this. I'm not getting paid to be here. Why am I here? Because I love it. Because I don't want you to make the mistake that I see people make every single day, where they go to people who sell you the dream and tell you how easy it is, and then you get disheartened because it doesn't work. This is hard work. It doesn't have to be, like, it's fun when you do it and when you enjoy it, but to put all of this in place, it takes time. You've got to want to do it. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong with having a job. There's nothing wrong with having a job at all. If you enjoy it and you have the security, that's great. But if you want a little bit more out of life, if you want a little bit more control and freedom, if you want a little bit more money, if you don't want the fear of maybe losing that job one day, then you need to look at other options. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe it starts off as a hobby and you earn money from it, and then it just grows. Who knows? I never knew I'd be doing this. You turned around to me a couple of years ago, so what you do? I'm building websites. Just sitting writing code. So you need to understand your systems. WordPress is really good. There's a lot of other things you can use. There's ClickFunnels, if anyone's ever heard of it. You can get a 14-day free trial. Go to ClickFunnels and you can actually build out all your sales funnels, and you can get people, you can test it. And if it works, then you can build it in WordPress. And I recommend using the X theme, getting a few plugins. If you want to sell things, use WooCommerce. It's an online store. And I've got blog posts and I've got information. And if you connect with me on Facebook, like, Facebook's the only platform I use. I've got LinkedIn. You go on my LinkedIn platform, it looks great, but I'm never on it. Go on Twitter, I'm never on it. I only use Facebook. Sometimes Instagram, but mostly Facebook. So if you go on Facebook and connect with me and ask me any question, I'll answer it. And I will respond. Not me, not my team, not the people that work for me, me. I will respond because that's what I do. I have all of my systems in place right now where people are going on my website, they're buying from me, they're doing all of that stuff so that I can be here, so that I can talk to you, so that I can help, so that we can have the conversations that we had yesterday, so that I can connect you with the people you need to get the funding that you need, which probably could well be me. I want to talk to you about that. Because the reality is, once you do this and it gives you these options, you can do so many other things. Like, for me, money's not the outcome. Money just gives me options to do other things. And I'm really blessed. And one of the things that I'm doing for one of my clients, so I work with a global charity called Global Angels. So, do any of you know, I don't know if you'll know the music, do you know Daniel and Natasha Bedingfield? They're singers. Yeah? So, I work really closely with their mum, Molly. She's an amazing woman who runs a charity called Global Angels. And 100% of anything that is donated to this charity goes to, on the ground, the projects. So they have, like, corporate sponsors who pay for the running costs of the charity so that the charity 100% goes on the ground. So here's what I'm doing at the moment. And this is really interesting. If you like virtual reality or you like new and innovative things, this is also how I get the 90% open rates, by the way. Okay, interested? No one's asleep yet. One's on their way. I see you yawning. It's fine. So basically what we've decided to do is when I leave here, I'm going back to the UK for a little bit, and then I'm going out to Italy, and then after Italy, I'm going out to Africa. And when I go to Africa, I'm taking with me a 4K 360 camera, and I'm going to film the experience. We're going out there. They've been building some schools out there, working with some local communities. We're going to go and set the internet out there and do some other things, and as a result, we're going to film it. Now, when you go onto the website, you can donate, and there will be a new button that will say, order VR headset. So you'll be able to order, because we have our suppliers now in China that can ship out, like the Google box, but Google Cardboard was brilliant because it made people realize that they can't rip people off for virtual reality headsets. And it got people to start creating decent virtual reality headsets that you can just drop your phone in. So you can now go out very cheaply and get custom branded virtual reality headsets. And what happens with that now is that when you order it from the website, you get your virtual reality headset, and you also get an app, the Global Angels app. And what happens is when you put your phone in with the app, you can actually see where you've donated your money. So you've donated money to a school in Savo, in Kenya. You can walk around that school as it's being built. How cool is that? Like for a charity. Like UNICEF started doing it, but then they haven't really followed it through that much at the moment. And so I'm all over it. I'm like, I'm doing that. That's my next. So online mastery is now expanded and we're going into virtual reality. Something else that I'm doing on the same side of that is you go to a conference, you go to an event, you come to something like this, put the camera right in the middle and live stream. So if you can't make the event, you can buy a ticket, you can still take part. You can still be at the event. You can still listen to the speakers. Concerts, anything like that. Like Tony Robbins, if any of you know Tony Robbins, personal development, he started doing a lot at the moment where he's doing holograms, where he's like in a room and he's filming, but he's actually projecting himself in different locations. The potential of that is he can run 10 events at the same time from one location in his house. And when you think that he gets 5,000 to 10,000 people in a room when he does an event, all paying £500 a ticket, minimum. Some of his tickets are like £2,500, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000. Now you think, £500, 5,000 people, 10 events at once, 10 different countries. That's the future of the technology. That's what we're moving into right now. So how can you adapt that? How can you use it? So that's where, because I'm not stuck in my business, because I'm not sitting there, because I'm not building websites anymore, I've got more freedom. I've got the ability to be more creative. I've got the ability to connect and to say, what's your problem? What do you need help with? What's going on for you right now? And because I ask these questions and because I listen, I know, and because I've got systems working for me, this isn't for me to sit on a beach. That's not the reason I'm doing this. This isn't for me to earn money sitting on the beach. This is for me to innovate and to get to the next level. I mean, that's the whole reason we're at this conference, right? It's to look at what's happening and what we're doing. Now, here's the thing, and this is what I haven't mentioned. Email open rates, 10 to 15%, fair to say, depending on how you engage. Now you've got an app on this Global Angels charity, push notifications, 93% open rate. I can now market to you, and none of the marketers are on here at the moment, and I can now tell you about all the cool things that we're doing with the charity through your phone. Guess what everyone's on? Their phone. If you're not marketing through push notifications on your phone, you're missing out. Because eventually, all the rest of the internet marketers are going to click on, are going to do it, and are going to ruin it. Just like they ruined email. Because of spam. I remember when internet first started, like when you had the dial-up, and you had to log into AOL. Remember? And you used to go, we've got an email! And like the whole family would gather around to read the email that was just sent. Now you're like, oh, another email. Actually, it's not one, is it? It's like you wake up and you've got like 1,000 emails in your inbox. It's just like spam, spam, spam. Push notification will go the same way. Some of you probably already do it. Turn off, turn off, turn off. That's why I don't have an Apple Watch. Why would I want all of that, like constantly bombarding me? But for many people, they haven't yet. This is the best time there will never be a better time than right now to do this. Does this make sense? So my last point, going on to step 6, because that's the system side of it. I'll go through systems if you want me to at a later date, like connect with me and I'll help you with that. Step 6 is sales and marketing. And this is really what it all comes down to. The problem that everybody has is they want to start here. Everyone just wants to sell. Like my business, Online Mastery, is about plan, build, and promote your website. No one wants to plan and no one wants to build. Everyone just wants to promote. Everyone wants to sell. Everyone wants to make money. Like that's what happens when I talk to people, right? So the problem that I have is how do I give them all the things they need? Because you must have your sales funnels in place. They must be converting. It must work before you promote it. Otherwise, what you're doing is it's like pouring water into a bucket that's got lots of holes. And like you'll keep some water in there, but not for long. And you'll spend more than you earn. So you have all of the sales funnels, you have all of the processes, you know your customer avatar, you know your numbers, and then when it comes to sales and marketing, the one thing that I will say, and there's 2 points to this, the one thing I will say is you need to test everything. The biggest thing that you have going for you right now is the ability to collect data. It is all data. Everything you do is information. How do you react to that data? Because collecting the data is one thing. Analytics. Every single person, who here has a website right now? Who here has a website? Okay, so out of the people with a website, how many of you do not have any tracking on your website? Do you have nothing at all? Oh, you have tracking? Yeah. So has anybody not got tracking? Like Google Analytics? It's free. You can track who visits your website. And I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it because I don't know did we get the laptop connected up? No, we didn't. I can't show you now. I can tell when you come on my website, I can watch your mouse. Like, I know everything. I know where you click. I know where you live. I know, well, not like your house, but I know where, that'd be really weird. But I know what country you're in. I know what device you're using, whether it's a MacBook or whether it's a PC. I know whether you're using Chrome or Safari. I know how long you're on my website for. I know how many times you visited my website from that IP address. If you've given me your email address, then I've created a contact record, and now I know your name, I know your date of birth, I know your dog's first name, I know everything about you. And I start to gather it. And every time I ask you a question, I put it in, and I have what's called a CRM system. CRM stands for Contact Record Management. So all you want to do in business, it's a game, is you want to get an email address or a number or something, because at the moment, because of the way technology works, you need an email address. Once you've got that email address, you create a contact record. And it's a game. You fill in the blanks. What are the problems? What are the things that they need help with? How can I help them? And that's what I do. On my website, when you go and look through my website, I have questionnaires, I have quizzes, I have all these different things. Whenever I talk to somebody, I'm always filling in my CRM. I'm always updating it. So-and-so's broke their legs, so-and-so's hurt themselves, so-and-so got a promotion, so-and-so's done this. I add everything. And then when me or my team go in, everything's there. So if I haven't spoken to you for 6 months and then we have a conversation and I can pick up exactly where we left off and you're like, wow, you remembered. Nope. I can't remember what I did last night. But I've written it down and I've put it in the system, and that helps. Because now I'm building up relationships with people. And so it's all about making sure you build those relationships. Does that make sense? There's a system called Hotjar. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. If you've got a website, I recommend 2 things. 1, Google Analytics, you should have it installed. 2 is Hotjar. Hotjar. If you install that, then you can track what's called heat maps. So you can tell who clicks where on your website. You can tell how far people scroll down your page. Yeah, absolutely. Let me write it down for you. Don't know where I put the pen. Hotjar. It's an application. You can use it for free, but then if you want more, you have to pay for it. But it's heat map tracking. And also what you do is you can put into it a series of pages. So you have maybe like a get started page, and then you have an opt-in page, and then you have a sales page, and then you have like a thank you page. So if you imagine the customer, they land on the opt-in, they write in their email, they go to a thank you page, thanks for your email, here's what you wanted, then buy something from me, and then when they buy it, they get the thank you page. So in Hotjar, you can write all of those pages down, and then it tracks, and you can see where people get to in the process. So if all of a sudden you've got everyone and they go, there's a problem. So you can log in. Now I can actually watch, because I recalled everyone who visits my website, I can say, oh look, everyone gets stuck here because this button doesn't work. So now I know. Does that make sense? It's like you need to track everything. What works, what doesn't. Get feedback. Speak to people. Like, hi, I saw you was on this page, but you didn't purchase. Can I ask why? And people, it's too much. What if I give you a 10% discount? Or what if, I added this in? Or what if I give you this instead? You see, I'm not about raising my prices so they're so expensive so no one can afford me. I'm about having really cheap products that people can buy, that they can use, that they can earn money, that they can then come back. And then they can pay me more money. So if I can teach someone to earn money, see, I can give you a fish or I could teach you to fish. If I teach you to fish, then you don't need me. That's more valuable. Does that make sense? So look, I know that this is like 90 minutes. I do this in 6 weeks with people. Right? We really, really go in depth, and I'm trying to give it to you right now. And a lot of you might just be like, I get it. But the idea is that if you just take one thing away from this, if there's something that sits in that makes sense that you can use, then it's worth it, right? And as I said, I know we've got lunch. Like, what time are we on? Have I passed it? You should have told me. Oh my God, I've kept going. Go for lunch. I'm so sorry. Guys, thank you. I can talk about this all day.